Hey coin collectors, it's DC on the Big D, and it's the 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar coin from the United States of America. We have four of them here, and that's because they had four different mintages that came out in 1981. They had the Denver mintage, and you can see the D for it right here. They had the Philadelphia mintage, which is the P here. They had the San Francisco circulating mintage, which is interesting because they hadn't had a circulating San Francisco coin since 1954. But this one was a circulating Susan B. Anthony, just a regular dollar that they would go to the banks and stuff. And then they had this one, and you can tell this is a deep cameo proof coin. So at the San Francisco Mint, they had the proof S coins, or the specialty coins that are sold in proof sets, and they had the regular S coins, the ones that we use day to day to buy stuff. The 1981 Susan B. Anthony coin is a key date coin. They only made the Susan B. 4 different years: 1979, 1980, 1981, and then they skipped making it for 18 years, and they made it again in 1999, the year just before the Sacagawea dollar came out. When they first brought these out in 1979, they made $750 million. They were hoping that the Susan B could replace the U.S. paper dollar. That didn't happen. In fact, many banks said they really didn't even want to have them, and they didn't change the coin machines to use them in time, and so not a whole lot of use from the Susan B's. So in 1980, they went down from 750 million to 100 million. The banks still didn't get them from the U.S. Mint, so by 1981, they went down to 10 million regular circulating coins and 4 million proof coins. So there's not a huge number of collectors of these, but because they only made them in 4 different years, and because 1981 they made the lowest number of circulating coins from the P, D, and S mints that had been made since before 1940. So it's just a key date year. They're still out there, and they're actually going up in value. So take a look for these if you want to get a collectible coin that may go up in value even in the circulating version like this. So here's the Philadelphia Mint coin. You can see the P right here. They made 3 million at Philadelphia. These have a 75% copper, 25% nickel covering over a full copper center. So the so-called copper nickel sandwich coins. And you can see on the back it says United States of America, pluribus unum, $1, eagle landing on the moon, holding an olive branch, and the earth over the eagle's shoulder. This reverse was designed by Frank Gasparo from the U.S. Mint, and actually was originally used on the United States Eisenhower dollar. Highest value for these Philadelphia Mint coins is about $1,500 from Mint State 68, and they found 21 of them. One of the interesting things about these coins is, even though they didn't make very many of them, they still weren't very good quality, most of them. So if you get a good quality Susan B, it can be worth some money. At the Denver Mint, and you'll see the D right here, they made $3.25 million. The auction record for a Denver Mint coin is almost $3,000, but since then they found a bunch of new Mint State 68s. And so right now, Mint State 68 is probably worth about $1,000 if you get it graded by NGC or PCGS. They made circulating coins at the San Francisco Mint, and the U.S. Mint in 1955 decided not to make any more circulating San Francisco Mint coins. They decided they weren't going to use the San Francisco Mint anymore. In fact, the letter S was not on any U.S. coins from 1955 until they came back in 1968 with the proof coins from the San Francisco Mint. Proof coins before 1955 were made at the Philadelphia Mint. So this S Mint coin, the highest auction value is $21,600 from Mint State 67 plus, and that was in 2022 because the San Francisco Mint coins, they only made 3.5 million of them, of the regular circulating coins, but they only have one that we know of that's a Mint State 67 plus. Even if you get it down to a Mint State 65, it's still worth $45. at the San Francisco Mint for the proof coins, and you can see this Susan B kind of pops right off of there. And if we look down here, we see this S. They had two different types of S. They had kind of a blocky S, which is the type 1 coin, like this one. It's called the filled or blob or clogged S. They made 4 million total coins, but they made most of them the filled S's. And right now, the best one you can get, a Proof 70 filled S or Proof 70 Type 1 S, goes for about $42. If you can get it in the skinny or clear S version, a Proof 70 goes for about $400. So the type of S on the San Francisco Mint proof coins can make it worth 10 times as much if it's a skinny S rather than a blob S. I want to show you one other thing. When you look at the front of these coins, you notice something interesting. Front and back of these coins, you notice something interesting, and that is there are 6 stars in front of Susan B. Anthony, 3 on each side of the "In God We Trust." And then there are 7 stars behind Susan B. Anthony, or on her right or our left. And so that is 13 stars for the original 13 colonies of the United States. And then when you go onto the back, you see there's an additional 13 stars on the back surrounding the eagle and the moon and the United States. If you are looking for these coins, another thing you can look at is the wide rim. So some of these coins have a really wide rim at the bottom, and the date almost touches them. Some of these coins have space between the 1981 here and the rim. And you can see a little bit of that here with these two different coins, and see how this rim at the bottom is thinner than this rim at the top. Sometimes it's really, really pronounced, and so you have the wide rim Susan B's and the regular rim. Another thing you can see on this particular coin right here is that it has a mark there right above the 1. And that is a mark that came from the mint. This is not post-mint damage. You can see another dent in it right there. So and a kind of watermark here from when the coin cured. That doesn't add much value to this coin really, even though it happened at the mint. And you find a lot of Susan B. Anthony coins that have different types of dents, scratches, or imperfections to them because, as I said, they just didn't pay a lot of attention to the production of these. They just wanted to get them done and get them out, and they did. And it really has influenced the collector's value because it's hard to get a good, highly graded one. Okay, thanks for watching the Big D Coin Channel. This is DC saying we hope you subscribe to the channel and leave any comments you have in the comment section.